Okay, if we move on a little bit further in Washington, I think this will complete sort of the model that I think develops of how commanders-in-chief deal with Congress that is in conflict with them. Following the Battle of New York, things keep going badly for the revolutionaries. The British even capture an American general. And the Continental Congress, now with a demoralized population, decides they want to make hay of this capture and somehow rally the American populace behind the war effort. And one means of doing that is to complain about the treatment of this American general in British hands and the way the British are treating them. What they know is that Washington has in his control a high-ranking British officer that he had captured in Boston. Now, the way high-ranking officers were treated at the time was better than you might expect. So this high-ranking British officer had 20 servants assigned to him, and he was allowed to roam within a 6-mile radius of the homestead that he was being kept in Massachusetts. So the Continental Congress sees this and says, well, they're treating our general so badly, you've got to treat this guy badly. And they order Washington to retaliate against the high-ranking officer he's holding and to treat him as badly as the American general is being treated by the British. This means, among other things, putting him in close custody and taking away all but one of his servants. The high-ranking officer is outraged by this. So is Washington. He thinks this is an affront to the dignity of the people he's holding. It's an affront to his own dignity as a gentleman and an officer. But nonetheless, he's complied with it. He gets a letter from the captured British officer writing to Washington as commander-in-chief. And the letter says, and this is a direct word that the letter uses, "You're a dictator." That's the word he uses. You're a dictator. You don't have to put up with this from your Congress. If you don't think I should be treated this way, don't treat me this way. Go back to the way I used to be treated. Now, you might think the commander-in-chief would throw that letter in the wastebasket, but instead he writes back to the captured officer, and he tells him, I do not have the power you suppose. I have neither the authority nor the inclination to disregard my Congress, which is a very powerful statement. But remember, Washington thinks it's a terrible idea what Congress is doing. And so even as he's writing that to the captured prisoner, he's also writing to John Hancock and the Continental Congress to convince them to relent in the way that they're ordering him to treat this officer. And among the things he says to them is, your order says I'm supposed to retaliate for the bad treatment, but what if I can show you they're not treating the American general badly? Then I shouldn't have to treat this general badly. So he's in a process of interpreting the orders of Congress in his favor, which is a very familiar tactic you'll see develop over time.